You know that feeling where your life is happening, but you are not fully inside it. You are there, physically present, moving through your days, doing what you are supposed to do, saying the right things, showing up where you are expected to show up, but something about it feels slightly distant, like you are watching yourself from a few steps back instead of actually being the one living it. There is no excitement. Nothing comes with clarity, no real sense of direction. It just feels like you are moving through something that belongs to you on paper, but not quite an experience. And the strangest part is how normal everything looks from the outside. Nothing is breaking. Nothing is collapsing. Nothing is forcing you to stop and reassess everything. Life is functioning exactly the way it is supposed to function. You are working, you are keeping up with responsibilities, you are answering messages, you are maintaining relationships, you are doing everything that is expected of you. And because everything is technically fine, you start to assume that the feeling inside you must also be fine. Just something to ignore, just something temporary, just something that will pass when life eventually becomes more interesting. But it does not pass. Instead, it blends into your routine. It becomes part of how your days feel. You wake up, you move through your responsibilities, you do what needs to be done, and somewhere underneath all of that, there is a quiet sense that you are not fully in it. Like your real life is something that is supposed to begin later, after the next milestone, after the next change, after the next version of yourself finally arrives. And the longer you wait for that shift, the more normal it becomes to assume that this in-between state is just adulthood, just what it feels like to grow up, just what it feels like to be responsible. Hiro knows this feeling long before he ever has language for it. At the beginning of Big Hero 6, Hiro is not someone in obvious crisis. There is nothing dramatic about his situation. There is no clear breakdown, no visible collapse, no moment where everything falls apart at once. Instead, he exists in something quieter and more difficult to notice. He is capable, intelligent, full of potential, but none of it feels anchored. None of it feels directed. He moves through his world with a kind of distance, as if he is always slightly outside of what he is doing, observing it, rather than fully entering it. And this is how it usually begins, not with suffering, but with drift. You start becoming someone who participates in your life without fully inhabiting it. You go through motions that make sense. You make decisions that are reasonable. You follow paths that are logically correct, but internally, there is a growing sense that you are not actually inside the experience of it. You are watching it unfold instead of being in it. Most people do not notice when this shift starts happening, because nothing about it feels like failure. It feels like waiting. It feels like your real life has not started yet. It feels like something meaningful is just ahead of you, just slightly out of reach, and that once you get there, everything will finally click into place. So you postpone the feeling. You tell yourself that it will change later, after the next step, after the next opportunity, after the next achievement, after the next version of your life finally arrives and fixes the gap between what you are doing and what you are supposed to feel while doing it. But that version never arrives in the way you imagine it will. It keeps shifting forward just enough that you never fully reach it. And in the meantime, you adapt to the current version of yourself. You learn how to function inside it. You learn how to maintain it. You learn how to perform it well enough that nobody around you would ever suspect that internally something feels slightly absent. And slowly, without noticing it, you begin to split your attention. Part of you is living the moment you are in. The other part of you is constantly stepping back from it, evaluating it, observing it, measuring whether it feels like it is supposed to feel. And that second perspective slowly becomes stronger than the first. You stop just experiencing your life and start monitoring it at the same time. Psychologists describe this as psychological distancing. It is a state where a person continues to function in their life, but the emotional connection to that life becomes quieter over time. Not gone, not missing entirely, just less available. And the difficult part is that it does not feel like pain at first. It feels like neutrality. It feels like nothing is wrong. And when nothing is wrong, it becomes very easy to ignore everything that does not feel right either. Hiro's life changes after loss enters the story. His brother Tadashi dies, and something inside Hiro collapses that he did not even realize was holding everything together. But grief is not only sadness, it is also disorientation. It removes structure. It removes the sense that things are moving towards something. It removes the feeling that there is a direction to any of it at all. And when that structure disappears, what remains is something far more uncomfortable than sadness. It is time without meaning attached to it. Days that do not seem to lead anywhere. Moments that feel disconnected from each other. A life that continues moving forward without a clear sense of what forward even means anymore. And in that state, the feeling of being a background character does not go away. It becomes stronger, because now there is nothing pulling you forward at all. No imagined future self, no narrative thread. Just the present moment, repeating itself in different forms. This is where Baymax enters Hiro's life, and Baymax is not important because he fixes anything immediately. He is important because he interrupts Hiro's pattern of detachment.
Now what are you doing? Other treatments include compassion and physical reassurance.
Baymax does not interpret Hiro's life. He does not analyze it. He does not assign meaning to it. He simply responds to what is directly in front of him, without distance, without judgment, without stepping outside of the moment to evaluate it. And that kind of presence is unfamiliar to Hiro, because Hiro is used to living in a world where everything is either something to achieve or something to understand. Everything is filtered through thought before it is experienced. Everything is observed before it is lived. But Baymax exists in something more direct, something more immediate, something closer to experience itself. And that difference starts to matter. There is a psychological state that explains the shift. It is the opposite of the distance Hiro has been living in. It is the moment when attention, action, and awareness come together in a way that fully absorbs a person into what they are doing. It is when you are not thinking about yourself while living your life, you are simply inside it, fully present, fully engaged, not stepping outside of the moment to analyze it while it is happening. But the opposite of that state is just as powerful. When attention splits, when awareness separates from action, when you begin to observe instead of participate, life starts to feel like it is happening slightly away from you. And that is where the background character feeling comes from. Not from lack of action, but from lack of presence inside the action. Hiro begins to recover slowly, not through understanding his situation more clearly, but through engagement, through action that forces him to stay inside the moment rather than step outside of it, through experiences that require response instead of observation. And in those moments, something shifts. The distance between him and his life begins to shrink. It does not disappear. It does not fully resolve, but it becomes smaller, more manageable, less constant. And for the first time in a while, he is not just watching his life from a distance, he is inside it again.
Actually, if we're gonna catch this guy, I need to upgrade all of you.
And that is the part most people misunderstand about this kind of feeling. Becoming the main character in your life does not feel like transformation. It does not feel like becoming someone new. It feels like returning. It feels like re-entering something you had slowly drifted out of without realizing it. It feels like participation instead of observation. But even that state is not permanent, because the mind naturally drifts back into distance when routine returns, when novelty fades, when days start to resemble each other again. And slowly, without noticing, the separation can return. Not because anything went wrong, but because attention shifted away again. And attention is where your life actually happens, not in what you are doing, but in whether you are there while you are doing it. Hiro's story does not end with permanent change. It ends with reconnection, the ability to return to experience instead of watching it from the outside, the ability to step back into his life when he realizes he has drifted out of it again. But nothing about him becomes fixed or final. He is still someone who can lose that connection, still someone who can slip into observation, Still someone who has to actively choose participation again and again, and that is probably the most honest part of it, because being the main character in your own life is not something you achieve once. It is something you return to repeatedly, something you notice you have left and then step back into, something that depends less on circumstance and more on attention. And the question this story leaves you with is not whether you have ever felt like a background character in your own life. It is how often you are still there without noticing, watching your life happen instead of living it.